Oh boy, you said, you better than that, yeah. Oh yeah, I've had a real good time, so.
I've had a
Yes, we've had the best.
All right, we've had a good time.
I've had an excellent time.
That's about
You made the show, though.
Good time.
Randall got killed.
You said it's about as much time. I don't mean this against Dr. Oakley, but it's about as much fun as I had at the dentist yesterday. But I hope you had more fun than I did, okay? It was not fun. Okay, we're going to, this is another time I need your attention. And then after this, we will have a few minutes. If you have a question directing it to what we're fixing to say, then please ask, and I will direct you back to your mom and dad if I need to, or I might be able to answer it. And then after that, we're going to go back outside to the fire for those who may want another hot dog, or some of you have not ate. Adam, bless his heart, just came and come right in. He hasn't ate yet. So we'll go out there and let him do that again. And then Cokes and stuff are out there, and then we're going to play Capture the Flag. So Crystal and Brandon will set that up. So we want everybody to have fun doing that. And so until then, and then we're through with your attention. Aren't you so glad?
I don't have much.
Robert and I are doing this with you guys because we care about the information we're giving for our own kids. So maybe we're being a little selfish, but I think that's okay. That we're interested in my kids having this information that we've given you so far tonight. And we've not given anybody information that we haven't already talked to our kids about. And your parents have probably already talked to you. But I believe it's nice and laid back and it's supportive to parents and to each other that you're doing it as a group in a nice God-honoring way and respectful to the parents as well, even though they're not here. But this concerns me about kids because I love my kids. I love the babies. I love the little kids, teenagers. A lot of adults are afraid of you guys. And it's because they don't understand you. And it's because, I think, number one, they forgot what it was like. They grow up and forget they used to be a teenager. And if you grow up and forget what it's like to be a kid, then it's hard to come back and say, yeah, just get on with it, don't you know? And so I tried to not forget what it was like. And of course, Mr. Godfrey thinks I just need to forget some and grow up. But I think there's a certain part that you have to hang on to and remember so you can help. And so, and this is why we care about kids. My kids friends, kids I don't even know, kids I read in the paper. This is so sad. This is in the Athens paper, Daily Post Athenian, October 2nd, 1997. This whole page, page number 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories on this page. Every single story has to do with a teenager or a child that got shot or killed or did something in one page in a little town of Athens. Who knows how many pages of these type stories are in Chattanooga, New York, Los Angeles. Terror strikes in Mississippi high school. Mom who killed son's molester released from jail. Teen guilty of killing best friend's mother. Murder suspect had been a victim of sexual assault. Parents charged with murder for not feeding 2-year-old boy. Kids. This is a whole page that's something terrible. Either the kids did it or it was done to them. And that's a shame. And I tore this thing out and I saved it on purpose because I thought this would remind me that somebody's got to start caring about you guys. And about the other guys there in school. What gosh, where they live. All of the kids in McMinn County. And that walks the halls of McMinn County High School and Central High School. And you wonder how many people care about those kids. Would their names be in an article like this someday? I hope not. And definitely better not be anybody in this room. But anyway. So, we care, so now that I've told you, it better not be in the paper like that. We're going to talk about chastity. And some of you haven't heard that word. You hear the word abstinence, you hear the word, of course, sex, and safe sex, and condoms. You hear the word virgin. But some hasn't heard the word chastity. You say, was that just a fancy word for virgin? Well, not really. It sort of includes virginity and also allows a little bit for the second chance of virginity. And so we're going to talk on that. And I did this, I used to do this to other teams. I got a note here that in March of '92, I spoke on this at an acting department at North Etowah, and in January '92, the First Baptist Church team department. I did it to others, but I didn't write down all the notes of who I spoke it to. But you hear so much on just say no. And us girls talked about that 2 minutes ago. I don't know what you guys talked about. But we said, if you hear it pushed and pushed and pushed in every public school and in our Christian school. But it's pushed and pushed, just say no. It's printed on shirts. I saw in the paper yesterday or today where, what high school was it? Had the red, was it Central? Had the red things that they're going to say no to drugs and alcohol. And they were having a big thing. Was that Central? That was Central. And a big red shirt, just say no. Just say no to drugs. Just say no to alcohol. Just say no to crime. And I agree with all that. You should say no to all those things. But then our world is telling you guys, say no to drugs. Wear a big shirt that says it. Say no to alcohol. Have a big hat that says it all over it. Put it in notebooks and stickers on your locker. But then they turn right around and say, let's say yes to sex. Two messages, totally opposite, both just as damaging to the young people. I mean, they might, you know, and you wonder, why did they do that? They put so much commercial on TV about saying no to drugs. And then they'll show a condom commercial that's saying yes to sex. Why are they doing it? It's like they don't want the kids to die from drugs, and shoot each other, but it's okay to have sex and die from all the gazillion diseases that there are out there, and get pregnant, and then they whine and cry about the rates of how everything is going up with teen pregnancies and welfare and abortions and all this, and they don't know why. Well, I know why. It's because they're telling kids to say no to some things, and they're telling kids to say yes to others. You need to be saying no to all of it, but for a reason, and this is what we're going to talk about. This is what chastity means. Now, this is a long definition, so I'm going to repeat it twice, so listen as carefully as you can. Chastity means behaving in a moral way, especially about sex. Chastity is understanding God's total view and plan for sex. And you agree to follow God's plan for high moral standards. A person who has, everybody understand what we say when we have standards, right? It's sort of a level of what's expected of a person, whether it's in a sport, you have a standard of what your coach expects you to play. You have a standard in grades. In order to pass, you have to have a certain level of grade. There's a standard. There's a standard in any organized group, in the armed forces and stuff. There used to be stories of the flag man when they would do a lot of fighting on land, and this guy, they called it holding the standard. I mean, he was in front of them all, showing this is, we got to go, we got to keep going, the standard of things. And so chastity is behaving in a moral way, especially about sex. Chastity is understanding God's total view, not just parts of it. Well, God created sex, it's good, isn't it? Uh-huh. But you got to get the total view. Okay? And you agree to follow God's plan for a high moral standard. These guys and girls that we saw on this video we just watched, some had, all of them had a variety of standards. Some was up pretty high, some they straddled the fence, and some didn't have any. How hard is it to reach your standard if your standard is a condom is better than anything if you're going to do it? It's not very hard to get to that point. What makes strong character in people is when you set your standard up the next part. And then the next part would be, obviously, the ultimate is, I'm maintaining a high moral standard. I don't have to worry about a condom or birth control, because I'm not even going to be a part of that situation to even need it. So you have that high standard of that. You're probably getting crystals ring. In Genesis 1:27, we read that. And so when the parents want to use this tape, they can hear the ringing. Because this is live. In Genesis 1:27. So you might find chapter 1. Surely that can't be too difficult, very first page.
didn't I?
Okay, 127, 27. And God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the
Okay.
birds of the air,
Yeah,
and over every living thing that moves on
stopping
the
at
earth.
that, so it may be
And,
later. Yes.
and then I'll just skip a few down here, and it
Yes.
says 31. Then God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
Okay.
We see here
All right,
that
we'll
God
make sure you
created
take care
the
of it.
male and the female. So yes, God
Okay.
created sex. He created the male and the female. You hear some preachers say it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. That's a joke, but that's the I don't mean it's a joke as in it's not true, but I hear a lot of people preachers would say that. But God created the male and the female, and then He looked after He created them. He blessed them, and to bless means an act of adoration. I mean, it's to behold. You ever made something, or you get a little child, I know Jamin gets so excited over something he made in school. And then it's just like, you got to put it on the refrigerator, all the stuff in the refrigerator, it's to be adored. It's admired. Crystal and Roy's flowers, you know, it's going to sit there and it's going to be adored. It's adoration. It's like a blessing. So to bless is something, it's an act of adoration. God admired His creation. He enjoyed marrying Adam and Eve. If we could have been up there with God, and God in all His holiness probably went, yes. I mean, he had fun marrying them because He adored what He was doing when He did that. Marriage is highly praised. God had fun doing it. He created them for the purpose to marry them. Wow. I mean, He didn't marry cow and Mrs. Cow, and horse and Mrs. Horse, and dog and Mrs. Dog, but He married Adam and Eve. So it's different. Those other animals, He created them to multiply and do their thing. But He did something special when He made Adam, and then made an extra special, and He made Eve. Hebrews 13:4. You say, how do we know, though, marriage is okay only in marriage? I mean, what does the Bible say about that? In Hebrews 13:4 says, marriage is honorable, and the bed undefiled. And I think it means it exactly in that order. Marriage, honorable, first, bed undefiled. Bed referring to sex, sleeping bed. You might have heard things like that. Slept with so-and-so. Doesn't mean they just lay down and sleep. Just in case somebody don't want it. Okay. I mean, you get a little kiss thing, we don't sleep with them. Okay. Well, anyway. So, but God says marriage is honorable. And the same thing as honorable is like the blessing, is to be admired. The definition of honorable means valuable, costly, esteemed, beloved, precious. If you worked really hard for a particular trophy or you just achieved something, you just don't stick that on the floor for the chair leg to scuff over top of it. I mean, it's put in a place, it's kept up, it's a place of honor and recognition of that. And God puts marriage above anything that we could put of a place that we want to save. And He said it's a place of value, it's costly. Then He tells Adam and Eve, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, to bear fruit, grow, increase, and to fill. See, sex is not a sin. When He told them to go multiply, He didn't mean to go under a tree and say 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 8. Okay, 16. I can't remember. Okay, so He wasn't meaning, He wasn't a math teacher. He wanted, okay, we won't tell. Well, anyway, yeah. Sex is not a sin. Because that's how he made that to be. He couldn't wait to marry them. Yes, they're married. Then He said, now, go multiply, replenish the earth. Go on, Adam and Eve, go on. And so, I mean, I don't know what they did, but okay. Sex is not a sin. The bed undefiled, and undefiled means unsoiled. I mean, it's clean. It's pure. There's nothing wrong with it. As long as it comes in that order. And so that's how come we believe that sex should be saved until marriage.